This is the Whole Care Network. Helping you tell your story one podcast at a time. Content presented in the following podcast is for information purposes only. Views and opinions expressed in this podcast are solely those of the host and guest and may not represent the views and opinions of the Whole Care Network. Always consult with your physician for any medical advice, and always consult with your attorney for any legal advice. And thank you for listening to the Whole Care Network.
Hello, everybody. This is Isabel Melgarejo, your host, and this is a Time to Care, the Caregivers podcast. Today with me, I have a lovely surprise for y'all. Her name is Paula Muller. I don't know. It is German, I think.
Yes.
And she is the founder of CareLink 360, where they help aging adults connect and engage with their loved ones far, near, simple, and globally. So welcome, Paula.
Thank you, Isabel. Thank you so much. So it's correct. My last name is Muller, and it's German, and it's actually my husband's last name. I'm actually originally from Chile, so my maiden name is Muñoz Contreras. I'm using my husband's last name.
I denied myself to change my last name. I was like, no, that's not going to happen. I'm changing countries, I'm changing language, I'm changing culture, I'm not changing my last name. He can't do that.
I don't know if it was a good decision or not, but Muñoz, it has this N with the special symbol. So if you don't have a Spanish keyboard, you cannot write the last name correctly ever. And the people were not able to pronounce my last name correctly either. So I thought probably Mueller will be easier in American. And that was sort of the rationale behind changing the name, not having to correct or misspell my last name, not having the Spanish keyboard. So it was a practical decision.
Well, practical decisions, and that's why we're here, because we want to talk about practical decisions. Can you tell us why you founded CareLink 360?
Thank you, Isabel. Yes, that was a very personal decision. As I was saying before, I'm originally from Chile, and my parents are still in Chile, and my husband is from Switzerland, and our in-laws, my in-laws, are still in Switzerland. And as we are getting older, our parents are getting even older. We experience that technology is becoming a barrier in their later years. Really managing a smartphone or a computer is getting too complicated for them. So how can we keep them connected? We're so far, and we still are long distance caregivers, and we still want to be in touch with them and keep them engaged and connected. So with my background in engineering, I said there must be something that I can do in order to bridge that gap. That was really the motivation to create CareLink 360, to provide a tool that is extremely simple for them to use, and then for us, very simple to manage remotely. So we bridge that gap by then getting a dedicated device that is super simple to use. It looks like a picture frame. It's always on, always connected. It doesn't need a username or password, nothing. So it's in the living room or wherever they want to place it in the home. My in-laws and my parents have it in their living room. We use an app in our smartphone. So no matter where we are traveling or at home, we just with a push of a button, we just connect and have a video visit with them, and we just show up on their screen and we start talking. And it has been so wonderful because it provides no stress for them. And it is the guilt sometimes that we experience because we cannot be there. We are so far away, but we still want to get to see how they are doing. And they enjoy immensely the opportunity to speak with us in such a simple way.
And I think even if you live in the same city, I'm from Mexico City, so unless you live nearby, it is not possible to visit your parents every single day. And obviously, as they start aging, you start worrying more about how they're doing. Are they okay? I don't know if they could fall. You worried if they can fall, or so you want to stay connected. And sometimes it's like life happens. We all have lives. We all have activities. We all have things to do, and we don't necessarily have the means to connect with them at any given time. So I love that idea of having a device that it's easy for our loved ones to use, that they can just go there, punch whatever keys. It's easy. Like, I understand that it's just like an image, the picture of your loved one. So you just go and you punch that image, the picture of of whoever they want to connect with, and then they are online. So I love that idea of connecting people. What can you tell us about how this initiative gives peace of mind to our loved ones and to ourselves as well? Obviously, you can talk from your personal experience.
Absolutely. I mean, having that capability that you, at any given moment, in any break, you just can, from your app on your smartphone, just push a button and connect with your parents or your loved ones. You know you're going to reach them because it's so easy. It's not that they forgot to charge the smartphone or they forgot how to operate. I mean, I have some experience from family members that they are so frustrated. They buy a tablet, they buy a smartphone, and they become the IT person from their loved ones. They explain how to use it, and then a week goes by, and either they are getting a phone call, how I was supposed to be doing this, or the smartphone is never used and it goes into a drawer. So here that doesn't happen. The device is always connected, so they don't have to forget about charging the screen. Also, the screen is very big, so the problems with vision, I mean, sometimes these small screens for older adults that have vision problems, it may be too small. Or even we have very loud speakers because sometimes with hearing aids, they don't hear that well. So it really has to be extremely loud. Having that capability is really a peace of mind that you can be there, that you have that option, that you can, like you said, check on them. We know as with age, things happen. I mean, either a fall or not a fall, but I mean, the body is going to need some care. And even in the best circumstances, you know they are more fragile. So you want to be checking that they are doing well, their mental cognition, right? Their cognitive level. You want to check how they are doing. I mean, their emotional well-being. Also, for their loved ones, I see that in both my parents and my in-laws, having those connections with your loved one, they are so meaningful to them. And it's not just the time that you spend during the conversation. This is a good feeling that they keep for the rest of the week sometime, or for until the next visit. I mean, just having that interaction, talking about things, it allows them and you to feel good, to have a positive moment, and that positivity lasts much longer than the interaction, the time of that interaction. Now, if I may add something, you have the capabilities through this device to send pictures. And many times the conversation with our parents and in-law is around the new pictures that we send. So it's an opportunity to see, yeah, we were here and we saw this person and we took that picture, and that's what we send it to you, and then 15 minutes go back just talking about that common experience. So with that, they have the opportunity to not only interact with us, but also learn about what we're doing in our life. Again, I cannot emphasize enough how meaningful and how positive it is for them to feel that they are part of the conversation, that they are hearing that firsthand from you directly. And then from the grandchildren, I mean, the grandchildren have also the app, and they are sending pictures, and it's an opportunity to again discuss and exchange with the grandchildren where they are, which is much easier than just start a conversation out of nowhere, where sometimes you cannot discuss something about your work or what you are doing, but just discuss about a picture that you sent because it was something, a bird or a tree or whatever. It's so rewarding.
Yeah, I remember. Oh my goodness, I have no voice today. I remember when I was in college, I'm a chemical engineer. And when I was studying, there were times I had questions about chemical engineering. If it was more mathematical questions, I could go to my dad and he would answer the questions. But if they were chemistry related, he had no idea. So I would call my grandfather.
Oh, wonderful.
We would go into these rabbit hole conversations and he would explain things to me. And I think it would have been just better to see his face. And back then, there were not even smartphones. Like, I think it was the beginning of the BlackBerry. It was like the beginning of the smartphones. Like, yes, you had like an internet connection of sorts, but not really. The smartphones were not what they are today. And I think it would have been great, like just putting myself in that situation, like just being able to connect with them, like with my grandfather and have my chemistry lessons, or with my other grandparents who used to live in another city. And I really didn't have much of a connection with them because they were far away. So yes, we would visit kind of often, but not really. So that kind of connection, I think, is really important. And I think it brings a lot of meaning to everybody. It brings meaning for the grandkids to be connected with their grandparents if they're far away. And another thing that is very important, and I heard from one of my clients this, that as we grow older, we start isolating ourselves. Like when we're in school, we have 30 friends and all the class are our friends. And as we start getting older, we start making our social circle starts getting smaller. And eventually that circle like gets so small and so tiny that we are very isolated. And actually that is something that I work in my programs. Like, how are you connecting with other people? Do your hobbies with not at home, go somewhere and do your hobby somewhere else, because then you will start connecting. So if you like painting, you can paint in your home, or you can go to a painting class. And maybe you're more experienced than the teacher, but just having a class and putting yourself with other people that like the same thing as you do connects you, and you're bringing that kind of connectivity with the people that you love, even though you're not there. So, what can you add to that?
You talk into several topics, and one of them that I want to emphasize is the reality of aging that is isolating, because your circle of friends is getting closer and closer. I mean, as you said, when you're going to school, you're meeting people I mean, at least 40 people in the class, right? And you have multiple classes, so your circles are very big. Then at work, the same thing with colleagues, professionals. You travel sometimes because of work, and I mean, it's not an issue meeting people. But then when you stop working, and then you just keep the good friends, and if you're not active, participating as volunteer on the church or Meals on Wheel, but then as time goes by, you cannot do all of that effort because it's very challenging for you as you age. And then your circle start getting smaller and smaller. And then the few friends that you have, unfortunately, some of them will start passing away. Being active, trying to reach out the grandparents, trying to reach out your parents, trying to reach out all the friends is so important, because loneliness and isolation is so pervasive in our older population. If we look at the consequences of loneliness and isolation, it has health consequences. I mean, the increase in cognitive decline because of loneliness and isolation it has been studied and demonstrated. The link between loneliness and isolation with depression, and even with health conditions, there is an increase in diabetes, in heart conditions. So really, it's equivalent to smoking 15 cigarettes per day. I mean, those are the
Wow.
studies that they have pointed out. And the general surgeon identified as an epidemic of loneliness in this country, because we are, for any reason, and COVID didn't help at all.
No, we didn't.
We have been extremely loneliness, and then it has a health impact. On top of that, you talk a lot about caregivers. Caregiving is extremely lonely and isolated task, because you're so focused on caring for your loved one, and sometimes you have to leave your job, and then again the interactions with others are less and less. So having the capabilities that others that are remotely can help you with technology tools like CareLink 360 is really something that you should bring to your care plan, because it not only, if you are a caregiver, it not only helps you to offload your caregiving task, but also it helps you interact with others and help your loved one interact with others. And when you are in an emotional, positive state of mind, all the interactions are going to be much smoother. I really like that you pointed out how important it is to force yourself to interact with others. And lastly, I wanted to say that really, if we look at how to prevent cognitive decline, we have to address 4 areas. And there has been studies that pointed out that all 4 areas need to be addressed. So it's not only physical activity, it's not only healthy eating, also stimulate yourself. And then when you're going to a class and interacting with others, you are stimulating mentally yourself, right? But then lastly, we are social beings. So we need to exercise social connection and social interaction, and addressing all those 4 elements, those 4 areas help us prevent cognitive decline. So being active socially is so important at so many levels.
From the standpoint of a caregiver, a full-time caregiver whose parents or their loved ones are with them and they're taking care of that loved one 24/7, just having the opportunity to put this sort of device and connect with their siblings that probably are out of state, out of the country, wherever in the world, they are able to just talk with mom for the next hour. I'm going to nap.
Right. The device also allows you to do some activities. So you can remotely manage and sort of help your loved one watch a video that is going to be soothing for them. Yes, in that case, exactly, to provide a little bit of respite to the caregiver in that situation where their loved one is going to be basically active and interacting with, like you said, with a loved one far away, but also being able to see something that is soothing and stimulating for them as well. As I mentioned before, having a positive environment where everyone is at ease, it helps so much in the caregiving process, because the person that you're caring for is going to be more receptive. And then if there is this better communication, you're going to be able to go through your day with a much smoother pace than in the case where the person may not be at ease, and then they may be, sometimes there are some discussions, I mean, disagreements, and if there is some tension, it make it so much difficult. So having that opportunity that others help you with the activities of caregiving is so necessary for the mental health of the person that is receiving the care and for the caregiver as well. No, it's so important, mental health and a positive attitude to life. Because we know it's difficult if you're facing a medical condition and if you're caring for someone, but trying to keep a positive attitude, it helps to keep a good mental health, which is so important.
I agree. And we often forget about our mental health and we put that as a side note. Like, if I have time, I will take a bath. And if I have time, I'll do my hair. And if I have time, I'll sleep 8 hours. And if I have time, like simple things, I will enjoy my coffee, whatever it is. And we're not prioritizing those tiny little beats in our lives that provide us mental care, and we're just putting them aside.
As humans, we are neglecting our mental health. And I think having tools that allow us to just simple tools that allow us to have an enjoyable moment and that allow us to have these distractions, that this type of stimulation. These are the things that we have built into CareLink 360 in order that the caregiver has some tools to their disposal that they can use with their loved ones for disengagement. So we have the pictures that you can send, the videos that you can have, the music therapy that is available, and then over 400 activities that they can do with their loved ones, ranging from very simple to more complex. But all of that are just tools for caregivers and loved ones to interact not in a way that you have to find something to talk about. It's just doing something together is what helps. And then it brings joy. And sometimes, in many cases, are surprises of the things that you didn't know about your loved ones. And that through these activities, you start discovering, which is also very therapeutical.
If people want to connect with you, what is the best way to find you?
I invite everyone to visit our website, which is mycarelink360.com. And they can always reach me directly through my email, which is pmuller, so P like Paula, MULLER at mycarelink360.com. I'm on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter and LinkedIn, so they can always reach me there as well.
Awesome. We're going to put all this information on the show notes. So scroll down, get her information, email her, go to her website, connect with her on social media. This is awesome.
Thank you so much.
For all of you, we are doing a webinar. The next webinar is going to be on May 10th. So for all of you that are listening, if you want to join us, we're going to be talking about important information for when you're a caregiver, how to build boundaries, how to have difficult conversations. So if you're interested, join us. And thank you all for joining us today.
Thank you, Isabel. Have a wonderful day.
This is the Whole Care Network. Helping you tell your story one podcast at a time.